Well, certainly a very solemn occasion to remember all those Israeli civilians who perished on the tragedy when Hamas invaded Israel on the 7th of October, but also a call for the unconditional release of those who have been just held against their will, taken into Gaza. And of course, it's a very all-important occasion here in Pretoria. Some very important embassies are part of this occasion as well, from the US to Germany and many other countries as well. But to really just give us a sense about the significance of today, joining us now is Benji from the Zionist Federation. Sir, thank you so much indeed for your time. Once again, a very quite important occasion as you perhaps just honor all those souls who perished on that fateful day. Tell us about the importance of today.
Yes, thank you for being with us. Absolutely, this has been the worst atrocity against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. But it's not just atrocity against us. It's been atrocity against as many as 40 different countries around the world. People perished in those attacks. And there are still 220 hostages that are still being held in Gaza, of which we believe half of them may come from other countries. So this is an opportunity for all of those countries from around the world to come together, to call for the release of the hostages and to pay homage to those who were killed.
And just once again, Benjamin, we see, the constant bombardment of Gaza. We saw last night Prime Minister Netanyahu talking about the ground offensive, saying that it will go ahead. I mean, what do you make of the issue around the humanitarian aid? We do hear from oftentimes that it's a very dire situation there.
Certainly no one wants to see civilians being hurt in this process, and I think that people need to understand that the war here is against Hamas, not against the Palestinians. And I think as soon as we have a pro-peace government that gets elected into Gaza, the sooner that we can have peace between between Gaza and Israel.
And just once again, Benjamin, we've seen so many marches, pickets, outside the Israeli embassy. You have those who are calling for the complete cut-off of diplomatic ties between South Africa and Israel. What do you make of such calls?
I think that those calls are largely emanating from the ANC, and that is an ANC position, but it's not the position of South Africans. All the major opposition parties have come together, civil society, many churches have come together to say this is not our position as South Africans. We don't support terrorism, we don't support extremism. And I think what an event like today shows, where we have not just people from around the world, but people from civil society in South Africa here today, shows that South Africans want peace, and they don't want to see extremism, not in the Middle East and not on our continent here in Africa either.
And just before I let you go, Benji, as you talk about South Africa's position, we know that the issue of the two-state solution, but also we've seen the ANC, just in terms of their allegiance and their loyalty to Palestinians, but also expressing sympathy as well in light of the tragedy that's happened also in Israel.
Yes, I think that what we need to see from the ANC is sympathy for the Palestinians, but not for Hamas. Our foreign minister is phoning Hamas, and that's not acceptable, unless she's calling for the release of the hostages, which is, as far as I'm concerned, she hasn't done yet. So we want to see the South African government do that. We want to see them not support extremism, and we want to see them and play a role in promoting peace in the region.
All right, Benji, thank you so much indeed for your time. Of course, he's with the Zionist Federation here in Pretoria. Quite a very sad occasion as they remember all those Israeli civilians who died in the tragedy, but also making that all-important call for the release of those who are still held hostage by Hamas. Khayelihle Khumalo, SABC News, Pretoria.